Hello, welcome to the Gallery Teachers English Masterclass. My name is Ben, and today we're going to talk about how to use linking in fast speech. So in today's masterclass, we're going to look at how the sounds of English can change in fast spoken English. We'll explore 4 different situations when you can use linking in your own speaking, and also situations when it might affect what you hear. This is really useful for your speaking, and it's also really useful for your listening as well. So we're going to look at 4 different situations, 4 different rules, I suppose, for linking in fast spoken English. Okay, to start with, the first rule we're looking at when we've got a verb and then the particle to and then another verb. There are specific verbs this works with, and I'm sure you're familiar with these. So we've got things like going to, want to, have to, need to. So in fast spoken English, going to often sounds like I'm gonna go to the cinema, right? I'm gonna go to the cinema. Do you want to come with me? Do you want to come with me? This one, I have to go to the supermarket. I have to go to the supermarket. So this is like have to. I have to go to the supermarket. I have to go to the supermarket. You don't need to come, though. We can meet at the door. You don't need to come, though. We can meet at the door. It's like need to, need to. Part of the reason for this is the vowel sound in this little word here. It's a very common word, and most of the time it's not important at all. So we use this, the schwa sound. It's the sound, if you can see the chart behind me in the middle. It's the most important sound in English, but it's also one that we don't need to stress. And so we'd say, I'm gonna go to the cinema later. Do you want to come with me? I have to go to the supermarket. You don't need to come, though. Be careful, though, because in some situations, it can be easy to make a mistake with this. Remember that we use the short form, the short pronunciation, gonna, wanna, when you have the verb going to, and then another verb. So for example, I'm gonna to go, right? Remember that gonna is going to, right? Gonna is the same as going to. So you don't need to add, right? I'm gonna to go to the park. I'm gonna go to the park. This here is already part of the sound. Also be careful with wanna, want to, because it's want to verb. So I want a coffee. Okay, I want a coffee, right? I want a coffee. But I want a coffee is not the same as I want to come. Be careful with this. This is a very easy way to connect your sounds together and to start to sound more natural. Let's look at another one. Now, this is talking more about sentences and more about the difference between types of words in a sentence. So in a sentence, you can have content words and function words. Now, the content words are here in bold, right? We're just going to say this sentence. But to begin with, I'm not interested in any of the function words. So we're going to take all of these out. I'm going to start a metronome. Okay, and I'd like you to repeat with me. Cat, hat, hair, chair. 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 Right? It's easy enough. Now we're going to add some more. Stick with the same beat. A cat, a hat, a hare, a chair. 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 Okay. And now, pause that for a second. We keep that going. A cat, a hat, a hare, a chair. But now we're going to bring in the whole sentence. You might think, how am I going to fit all of this into such a small space? Well, it's quite easy. Let's start the beat again. Cat, hat, hare, chair. Cat, hat, hare, chair. A cat, a hat, a hare, a chair. A cat, a hat, a hare, a chair. There's a cat in a hat and a hare on a chair. There's a cat and a hat and a hare on a chair. There's a cat in a hat and a hare on a chair. There's a cat in a hat and a hare on a chair. Now, what we're seeing here is the content words get lots of attention, but the function words between them are squished together. You can use this in your own speaking and try not to stress small function words, linking words, prepositions, determiners, articles. Try not to give them so much emphasis. Focus more on the nouns. So if we look at this sentence, what do you think are the important words in the sentence? Now, let's look at going. Do we stress the first syllable or the second syllable? What do you think? There we are. So I'm going. Then about London. Is it London or London? First or second in London? First, yeah? Okay, so I'm going to London. And again, yeah, first. Okay. So in a basic sense, right, we've got here 3 content words: going, London, weekend. And we are going to stress these much more than the other words. This is interesting. What type of word is I? You might think, right, that it's the subject of the sentence, it's a pronoun. You might think that it's an important word. But actually, in fast spoken English, very often pronouns are not given very much attention. I think maybe this is because it is clear from context who we are talking about in the sentence. So we don't need to stress the pronoun or the subject so clearly. Let's build this up. We're going to start at the back. I want you to repeat along with me. So, weekend, 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 at the weekend, at the weekend. Now listen, I'm not saying at the weekend. I'm saying at the weekend, at the, yeah? At the weekend, at the weekend, London at the weekend, London at the weekend, London at the weekend, London at the weekend, to London at the weekend, to London at the weekend, going to London at the weekend, going to London at the weekend, I'm 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 going to London at the weekend. Notice that we've got these parts of the sentence. Right, the function words that really squish together and they connect together. And so I'm going to London, to London, to London at the weekend, to London at the, to London at the, to London at the, right? But there's more that we can do with this sentence, because I'm sorry to say that in spoken English, it's not quite as tidy as this, because we can talk about something called a squeeze zone. So this is where between the important syllables in the sentence, sounds get squished, squeezed together, and they sound very different. So I'm going to London at the weekend. I'm going to London at the weekend. Say it again with me. I'm going to London at the weekend. I'm going to London at the weekend. Okay. But what if the person, so imagine we've got two people speaking, right? And person A is saying this sentence, but both of them live in Brighton, right? They both live in a city very close to London. And it's a normal thing for them to do. I think often you're going to hear the first stress and the last stress. But what happens in the middle is all squished together. And in this situation, listen to what happens to the part of the sentence in blue. I'm going to London the weekend. I'm going to London the weekend. I'm going to London the weekend. What changes about London? I'm going to London at the weekend. 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 Can you hear the D? I'm going to London at the weekend. I'm going to London at the weekend. I think it turns really to something like this. I'm going to London at the weekend. I'm going to London at the weekend. And it's really from context that we know what this is. This is why sometimes it's difficult to really hear what's happening. Yeah, there's no need to emphasize the place while they're talking. They know what the place is from context. I'm going to London the weekend. I assume it's London, right? It's familiar. So this is a squeeze zone between the first syllable and the main syllable at the end of the sentence. What happens in the middle is squished together. Okay. Finally, we can look at rushed adverbs. Rushed adverbs. So I'm going to say this sentence. I'm going to say each sentence. What adverb do you think I'm saying? What is this first adverb? I'm actually about to move house. 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 So it's the adverb and actually. Adverbs are really common in spoken English, and they're not something that we often stress or emphasize the words. There is a difference between American English and British English. And you might find that in American English, they pronounce the sounds in adverbs a little more. We'll look at that very quickly in a second. I'm actually about to move house. Actually. What about this one? No way. That's literally just what I was about to tell you. No way. That's literally just what I was about to tell you. Literally. Literally. Not literally. Literally. Next one. Yeah, I wasn't sure, but in the end, I just thought it was the right thing to do. Yeah, I wasn't sure, but in the end, I just thought it was the right thing to do. Yeah, I wasn't sure, but in the end, I just thought it was the right thing to do. So this is just, which often is just, and not just. And then the last one, yeah, totally. Yeah, totally. Now, something that can help you with this. Let's have a look at a website I love called Youglish. Youglish is an amazing website. You can search for words or expressions, and it will show you clips on YouTube of people saying it. So let's look for actually. And have a look at these clips. And you can hear what it really sounds like.
It took me years to figure out what actually happened.
You have to harness them into a work that is actually useful.
It's actually the complexity that's science.
New York mayors are considering that idea of how you can actually constitute a global.
Okay? So it's not actually, it's actually. But then literally, we're going to hear it's different in British English and in American English. So if I search literally for US.
Office, because I've been with you in it, is literally right there.
Right.
And literally is literally
better. You know, without him, I never could have played Joe Biden. Literally. Hi, I'm Joe Biden.
Actually, you're not. So American English, the T is more like a D. It's not American T, but it's literally. But in British English, you're going to hear something quite different.
Function. Without it, we literally can't interface with others.
Words like revelation, which literally means unveiling.
And I mean that literally and figuratively. On top of these
Is actually American.
That is when the sounds quite literally change.
a perfect one to finish with. Sounds literally change. So in adverbs like these, so rough adverbs, actually, literally, obviously, really, particularly, especially, course, just. So we have reached the end of our masterclass. Thank you for your attendance today.